Hello friends, welcome once again to our fourth video of Ionic delivery tutorial. In this video we'll be creating this section of our product display. Remember, I'd given you an assignment to try out and come up with this on your own. Then when we meet again, we can see how to implement this. Okay, so in this video we'll then go ahead and implement this popular section of our products. Then after that we'll create a bottom nav bar. Previous video we created this main featured product display, and we saw how we can use Ionic components like ion slide components to be able to swipe through our different featured products. All right, so now in this video we'll start by creating this product display. We are going to use ion segment component into our application. So if you have used a different approach on this section, please feel free to share it in the comment box below. Okay, so that we can learn together. Okay, so now let's dive into our core Visual Studio Code. We'll go to our home.html page, and then inside here, just right below our main featured product, we'll paste in that code. And this one simply is also a container for our popular product section. Then we add our ion segment, and we are setting the mode to iOS. Let's just define the styles directly here. Okay, we'll go ahead and add ion segment button. So inside this ion segment button, we'll have ion label, and this one will have popular, and we'll go ahead and I think duplicate these different menu buttons. And I think what we can do is add value. So this will be value 0, and then this one will give it a value of 1. And I think what we'll do here is we are going to add a title, which will be, I think let's go to our design and see what we have. We're having diary, so we'll copy that, go to our code and then paste that right there. Okay, and we'll also duplicate this button. All right, so let's go and copy that title right there, which is fruits here, and add that one right there. Copy this one, duplicate that, come here, and then let's copy this last one, and we'll give it a title of 3. Then what we can do here is we'll add ng model, and then we can add here ng model is a directive that binds input of any Ionic component and stores the required user values in a variable. That's why we are specifying the segment that is going to be storing the values of each tab that we are going to be navigated to. And also we have to know that ion change is an angular event emitter that is used by Ionic to handle input changes in most of Ionic components. So that having said, I think you understand why I have used ng model here. and ion change. Let's call our function segment change, and then we'll just indicate here. Okay, I think now we'll start with ion-segment button. Then let's give it a style. So let's save and go and check out. Yeah, we need to add some spacing and also remove, I think, this default color. Let's just copy this style from here, from this toolbar here. Let's just copy, just give it a class. So we can come to our style and then just write down here. Like so. Okay, so this will be I think important. Our background is not defined correctly, so it's background something like and it's not translucent, it is transparent. Now the reason why we are having that is, if we come here, yeah, the error is here, so we need to add a period on our class name there. Then if we save, yep, so everything now is working properly, only that our titles are in white. So what we can do there is we are going to just add a color attribute here, something like gray. It's our menus, and maybe this is supposed to be an segment like that. Let's go in our choose file. Okay, this is correct, and also here we need to change this. I think that's where the problem was, even that one. Okay, if we save now, everything is working. All we need to do is to run it on our device and see what we have. If we scroll down, this is what we are having right here. I think what we are going to do is to add our slider right down here. Okay, so for us to display content of every tab that is selected, we are going to do that by using the same knowledge we applied up here. So we are going to apply ion slider. Okay, now just write down below our ion segment. I'm going to just paste in this code right here. Alright, so in this section down here, as I told you, we introduced again ion slides component. And remember, in our previous video we looked at how we can create components. So I just pasted this code right down here so that I don't repeat myself to save time. But just to go through what we have implemented here. In this slide, we set our page as to false. We also introduce slider option configurations. So our initial slide will be 0 and slide per page will be 1. And the speed will be this one. Here I introduced 2 events, and one is ion slide did change. You can say it's an event which is emitted whenever the slide change has ended. Or you can say ion slide transition ends And we also added ion slide did load, and this one is only fired when the slide has already been loaded. Okay, that having said, we went ahead and added a container right down here, and here we gave it a class of bottom style. Okay, now if I come down here, then I will paste this style. This is the style for our ion item, and the label inside the ion item. This is going to hold our different user ratings on our products, and also display the title of the product. So that's having said, let's go in our TS file and see how we can create these different functions that we added, or you can call them methods that we added onto our event listener. Here we added ion slide changed function, but you have also to remember that in our ion segment component, we also added an event right here. Alright, so let's go in our TS file and see how we can create these functions. Now, in our TS file, first of all, we create our segment changed function. And just down below our segment changed method, we also defined ion slide changed method. And then in this method, we pass in a property which is slides, and we assign it an instance of ion slides. And now we come into our function inside here. We call this selected slide variable, and we equate it to ion slide property that we defined in our function here. So we use our property to get the index of the active slides by calling the getActiveIndex method. And what you have to know that since this getActiveIndex method returns a promise, so the result of this promise is evaluated using the then method, which is this one. And also what you have to know that this method takes in two functions. One is the success function and the other is the failure. Okay, so the first function is called when the result is success or the promise has resolved. Okay, and the second function is also called when the result is failure or it has failed, or the promise has been rejected for some reasons. Okay, so that's why we call in this selected index function. And then here I didn't want to call in the other function, the second function, but you can feel free to call in for if you want to catch the errors in case the promise has been rejected. So you can call in that function, but for this video I just created this one, and then inside here we assigned our segment variable to the selected index. Okay, all right. So when we come back here to our segment changed function, whenever the segment changed method is called, we'll have to await for the slide changed method to run so that we can get the ion slide instance. All right, so when this runs, then we come here and then call in another method. Slide2 method is used to transit to the specific slide. If we can go back to our index in our segment function, just right here, what we have to know that the buttons values which we have set as zeros and ones to match the slider index. That's why we manually set our value to 0, 1, that is button 1, then button 2 which is 1, and then button 3 which is 2. And then we have to know that this ng model is our variable that holds our index values, okay, our ion segment values. That's why when we come here and we call our selected slide property, we call this method slide to, which will then push ion slider to a specific index which matches this value that we are having. That's why we have to await a slide change method to run, then we assign the index that we are having in line with the ion slider index. So that having said, let's go into the application and we test out and see what we are seeing. Our application has successfully launched, and if we come here, this is our ion segment buttons, and then here this is our ion slider which is here. So every time we swipe, let's say we are on index 0 and then we go to index 2. Okay, let's fix this first. I think we are having a problem with our function. Ion segment. Okay, let's remove this. Sorry, we had that error. Save. So let's sync our application. Alright, let's move from one slide to the next. You see that whenever you swipe it, when you go to slider 3, 2, you see that even the button changes. And if you go to popular product, also our index changes. I think for this video, this is what we have done. So in the next part of this video, we are going to create our bottom tab bar, which is coming up. In our previous part, we looked at how we can create our popular product display section, and we looked at how we can use two components. One is ion segment component and also ion slide component in order to swipe through the different products in our application. So now in this part we are going to look at how we can implement our bottom tab bar, which is this one. So these are going to be the different pages on our bottom tab, and they will be representing different pages which a user can navigate to. So that having said, I think let's head back to our VS Code, and here what we'll do is we're going to enable the terminal, and we'll run this command, which is ion g, which stands for generate page of pages folder. Then inside here we'll create our tabs page. Okay, good. So this command, when it runs, you could come here in our pages folder. Remember, we are redirecting our application directed to home page. We'll redirect our application to the new created page, which is tabs. Okay, good. So now you see that we are on our tabs page, so we are no longer being redirected to the home page. Come back to our VS Code and go to our tabs page, and then in our index page, I will go ahead and delete all this that we are having right here. Okay, we are going to add ion tabs, and inside here we'll just add ion tab. Okay, and then our button will give it this icon, and we'll set this one to tab home. Then inside here we'll position our tab bar to bottom. I think what we'll do is just to duplicate this for the rest, and what we'll only change here, we'll put here location. So this one will be location.svg, and then something like profile, and we'll have a bookmark here, bookmark.svg. Remember, all these assets are already in the assets folder, so if you go to bookmark, is right here, and location is also right here. So we can also duplicate for this. Yeah, we'll set it to account. So this will be for the account. Now if we go to our application and check out, these are the icons that we have added. Okay, so but one is not working. Let's check out that. And this is the location. So let me see the location. Location is capital L. Okay, sorry about that. So good, so it's right there. Okay, now what we are going to do is to style up our tab bar, which is this one here, and we'll remove this default color. Okay, we will have a default page which will be displayed. Alright, so let's go ahead and do so. In our tabs.css, we'll go ahead and paste these styles inside there. Now here what we are doing is we are styling for the ion tab bar. Okay, so after setting that, then we can put the selected tab color to that one. We set it to absolute, position absolute, and bottom 0 pixels, and then we set the width to 100%, and we go ahead and style for our ion tab button. These buttons that you see here, we style them, and we remove this default color, and we set the background color for our ion tab to this one, and also the selected color of each tab that is clicked, will set the color to this one. Okay, so if we can save, and good, so you see now our tab bar has changed the color, and you see every time we like hover on any tab, you see that color being changed. I think we can make it more darker, and then the selected color we can also increase it a little bit. Good, so you see, I think that is much better. So that one having done and said, so let's assign the default page on our tabs. Have to go to tabs routing module.ts file, just below the definition of our component, which is tabs page. We'll add a definition of children right there, and inside here we'll create an object, and we'll give it a path as home. We'll create one, our home page. So this will be our path to our home page. And yeah, I think for now let's define that one. And we'll add just right down here. We'll redirect to tabs, home, path match will be full. So we have our default home page right here. So we don't have to click it, but it will be selected automatically. Okay. So now what we are going to do is to create this middle button, and we'll use nothing else but ion-fab button. We'll go into our tabs page. So just on top here, I'll go ahead and create a div class, a div container, and give it a class Alright, so inside here I'll go ahead and create a paragraph tag inside there, and I will just give it a style of aligned center. Okay, so inside here I think we can just comment. Define our class, position absolute, bottom, yep, I think that will work. So we'll go ahead and add our ion-fab, okay, and we'll give it a style of good. So inside here I'll go ahead and add our ion-fab button, which I'll give a style of this, small, and yep, and we'll give it an icon of search and with that color. Okay, so what we can do for us to achieve the middle this middle button right here, all we need to do is come into our ion buttons and just add another button right here. So there will be 5, and this one, the 5th one, will remove the icon. So we'll comment out the icon, and then we'll give it a search tab like that. We name it search. So if we save and check out, we're having an issue right here. The issue we are having here is is closed try, so that could cause issues if we save. Good, so you see our button is just right there in the middle. You see how it has come up so fantastic. Now what we can do is run our code on our device and see. Okay, now if we can check our application, with our design, you see that exactly what we are having in our design is what we are having right here. The issue we are having here is that when we swipe through our ion segment buttons, we are getting this error here. So what I found out is that this approach was working in Ionic 4. Since we are using Ionic 5, we need to define the view child, which is going to enable us to get these elements from the DOM of our application. In our TS file, I'm going to comment that out. And then first, let's see if we are getting the index. So if I swipe through, we are getting index 0 and 0. To fix this, let's go in our HTML page and see how we are calling our ng model. We are missing brackets here. So we are using only square brackets, and we are supposed to add the rounded brackets inside our squared brackets. Okay, can save and check that. Good, so we are successfully getting the indexes of our different tabs. All right, at the top of our page, I called the view child decorator. This view child is an Ionic decorator which is used in grabbing elements from the DOM to call component API methods in our TS file. Okay, that's why we use view child to assign our property, which is slider, an instance of ion slides instance. So we can use this property to call different methods in our application. Okay, so right down here I can go ahead and call our property which we have defined up here, which is slider, and then inside here I can then pass in our variable which is segment. All right, now as you see, our application has launched, and if we can go ahead and swipe, you see as I click, the slider index changes in relation to the tabs index. So feel free to comment on this part. If there is a better way of implementing this, please feel free to share so that we can all learn from each other. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe on my channel and like so that you can receive all the new videos that I'm going to be releasing. Okay, so see you in my next video. Bye bye.